But we've seen an outpouring of support in Aiken County and a massive joint law enforcement effort to search for and now to seek justice for Javeayah Harris. Personally, there's some very harsh words that I would like to use about Javeayah and Michelle and their actions. But I will not do that. And I will not do that to protect and maintain the integrity of this case. But I will tell you this. I will not refer to them as mom and dad or mother or father. They don't deserve that title. I stand before you saying this is one of the most difficult, deeply disturbing, and emotionally taxing investigations this office has ever worked, and it's weighed heavily on this sheriff's office, all these other law enforcement agencies, all these people behind me that's worked tirelessly to bring this to an end, and it's weighed heavily on our community. I am truly sickened to share what this investigation has uncovered. From the moment Javeayah was reported missing, the sheriff's office, as well as our law enforcement partners and first responders, we responded with urgency, determination, and compassion. What started as an exhaustive and complex search quickly grew to something that I would have never imagined. Now understand, I cannot discuss all the details We should have stopped the train. Understand that I cannot discuss all the specific details in this case. But at this time, I can share that a few human remains were recovered in an area known as Cedar Creek Reservoir, also known as Stumpy Pond in Fairfield County. These remains were immediately sent to the State Law Enforcement Division, and through analysis, the DNA of the remains are consistent with being the biological offspring of Javeayah and Michelle. I want to also share with you that through forensic evidence, statements, and analysis, extensive and deliberate efforts were made to destroy and conceal evidence following Javeayah's death. Our information reveals the use of corrosive chemicals and other tools that were used to accelerate the destruction of her little body. After this was completed, these two individuals poured what remains were left of Javeayah into the Cedar Creek Reservoir. These subjects went through great lengths to cover their repulsive and revolting actions. In my 37-year career in law enforcement, I have never, ever heard of anything so horrific. As a result of this information, it's unlikely that the entirety of Javeayah's body or any other remains from this point forward will be recovered. And I'll say this again, we had all hoped and prayed to find her body, but with the information we've uncovered, that's simply not possible. I want to also announce additional charges for destruction and desecration of human remains have been filed against these two individuals. I know this is heartbreaking for anyone who's followed this case. It's heartbreaking for our office, for all the law enforcement across the state that's worked on this case, countless hours to find every piece of evidence with the hope of bringing Javeayah home. It's heartbreaking to our community. Our commitment has been to pursue the truth regardless of how difficult it may be. While no announcement can lessen the profound loss in this case, our commitment remains unchanged. Today is not only about the evidence recovered, it's about a child whose life was taken far too soon. While today marks a painful chapter in this case, it does not end our work. Our investigators will continue to pursue every lead, examine every piece of evidence, and work closely with the Second Circuit Solicitor's Office to ensure that justice for Javeayah is pursued. I ask you to pray. Pray for Javeayah and her extended family, our staff, all these other law enforcement agencies, and this community. Again, I want to thank all these law enforcement partners, local, state, federal, other first responders who assisted in this case. But from the time I announced at my last press conference that the investigation had taken us outside of Aiken County, I specifically want to thank the State Law Enforcement Division, South Carolina DNR, and Sheriff Will Montgomery and the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. These DNR divers spent hours and hours and hours searching. Finally, I want to again thank our community. Throughout this investigation, you've demonstrated compassion, encouragement, patience, and prayers. We recognize the emotional impact this case has had on so many, and we thank you for standing with us. Together, this community has shown that even in the face of tragedy, compassion, unity, and service remain stronger than the darkness we've encountered. I'm going to take a few questions, but if it didn't come from this press release, you're probably not going to get much more.
How this investigation has unfolded and these additional charges on the parents, has something plans to penalty?
At this point in time, with what they're charged with, that would be a question for the solicitor's office later down the line. I don't want to speak for them.
And what have you guys learned from relatives or other close family about when Javeayah was last seen alive, and whether or not any one of the close family members had raised any concerns about not seeing her for an extended period of time?
I'm just going to say the same thing I said at the last press conference. We believe that she had been dead for about a month before the 911 call.
Has there been any evidence that you guys have found in the last few days, or when it comes to the child abuse standpoint towards Javeayah, that was it one specific incident that potentially killed her, or was it long jump?
I can't speak on that. I know the answer. I'm just not going to give that.
You all have on the pink ties and the pink ribbons. mentioned seeing the community here put together this vigil tonight.
Well, everybody's put on Facebook to wear pink. The pink's our favorite color. We just thought it would be, we care about her like everybody else does. We have people that'll be at the vigil tonight. I have a previous speaking engagement, so I can't be there. May come late, but we just want to show that we're human beings. We're not robots. We care about the people in this community, especially a 4-year-old little girl. This is the most disturbing thing you'll ever see.
All right, one more question.
I'm not going. Our investigation led us there. Okay. Thank y'all, and thank you, community.
Thank you all. Y'all did a wonderful job. We really appreciate y'all.
There you have it. That was Aiken County Sheriff Marty Sawyer giving us the update that I think we were expecting but hoping would never come, and that is that they found Javeayah Harris's remains, and I was taking some notes as he was speaking to try to make sure I didn't forget anything. I had to stop in the middle of that and just try to take in what he was saying, because that was some truly sick stuff that he was saying that came from this news conference. I'll go ahead and read out just a little bit of what we wrote down here. So he started off by thanking everybody for being there, said he had harsh words that he would like to use to Javeayah and Michelet. He said he won't refer to them as mom and dad or mother and father because they don't deserve that. The actions that they've shown over the last week or so, and even beyond that, as we now know, make them unworthy of that title. He says they used accelerants, including corrosive chemicals, to destroy Javeayah's body. He then says they poured her remains into, I believe it's Cedar Creek Reservoir. I wrote that down somewhere, forgive me. But I believe it's Cedar Creek Reservoir in Fairfield County. If I can pull that back up. Just give me 1 second here. I just want to make sure I've got that right. I know it's in Fairfield County. I know it's a reservoir. I'm pretty sure it's called Cedar Creek. Let's see. Yeah, Cedar Creek Reservoir in Fairfield County. There's a look at them. They're now charged with desecration and destruction of human remains. So add that charge onto the homicide by child abuse and onto the false report that Michelet faces as well. Michelet was denied bond on that charge because it was tied to a homicide charge. They do have to go to circuit court to see if they're eligible for bond on the homicide charges. Hard to believe that will be granted given the details that we just learned today. Again, if you're just joining us, that was Sheriff Marty Sawyer giving us an update on the Javeayah Harris case. He says they found remains up at Cedar Creek Reservoir that were the DNA that SLED tested was consistent with let me see what he says here, the biological offspring of Michelet Herring and Javeayah Harris, which would be Javeayah Harris. So they believe they found Javeayah's remains. He then says the two here on your screen, Javeayah and Michelet, went to great lengths to cover their actions, including using accelerants like corrosive chemicals to destroy Javeayah's body and then pour her remains into Cedar Creek Reservoir. So again, we showed you over the past couple of days that officials were up in Fairfield County around that area doing some searching around Union County. And this is just